Hello and welcome to Talking Sense, a Pittsburgh Works Together interview series featuring our region's most influential leaders. We'll get their perspectives on jobs, the economy, and other topics vital to Pittsburgh's progress. I'm Kelly Brennan, and on today's episode, I speak with Kristin Mulkerin, Deputy Secretary for Planning at the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation, also known as PennDOT. Kristin highlights PennDOT's key planning initiatives, along with ways it is pursuing innovative opportunities to enhance our region's transportation system. We hope you enjoy this insightful and informative discussion.
All right, Kristin, thank you for joining us and taking the time to be here today. If you wouldn't mind, could you just introduce yourself and give me a little bit of a background as to your role with PennDOT?
Absolutely. I am currently the Deputy Secretary for Planning. As the Deputy Secretary for Planning, I oversee the bureaus and operations under our Planning Deputy, which primarily is behind-the-scenes things. It's analyzing data. It's developing plans and programs that focus on our short-term, mid-term, and long-range planning. So 25-year horizon, 12-year horizon, and a 4-year horizon. We do a lot of the things before you see the shovel-ready projects and the earth moving and the construction out there moving. We kind of do the prep work.
Okay, and you've been with PennDOT for a long time now.
Yes, over 20 years. I actually started as a high school co-op, worked my senior year in high school before I was even 18 years old. Stayed on through college as an intern and then worked my way up through the planning deputy.
So you obviously have the background with PennDOT. You know the ins and outs. I feel like you're the perfect person for this interview. What are some of the top transportation planning priorities for Pennsylvania right now?
So that's a good one. And obviously, always safety. Safety is a priority for the projects we're planning and for our workers. Also, funding's a big issue. Maintaining our roads and bridges is hard. We have a lot of needs out there, and we also have those on the transit side as well. So the highway bridge side, we've been very fortunate under the Governor Shapiro's leadership, working with the legislative members. They've stepped down the reliance of the state police on the motor license fund earlier than anticipated. We're hoping that continues. We're also hoping that some funding will be dedicated to help out on the transit side as well. Freight and truck parking are also a priority too, because we need to be able to move not only our people, but our goods safely and efficiently.
Yeah, absolutely. And how is PennDOT approaching the long-term infrastructure planning in the urban and rural?
Yes, absolutely. So at a statewide level, we have a statewide long-range transportation plan that kind of focuses on goals and objectives for a longer 25-year horizon. Each of our rural and metropolitan planning organizations throughout the state have their own regional long-range transportation plans. Each of those include a fiscally constrained list of projects. So we're planning for projects well in advance of those shorter-term needs of when you're seeing the earth moving, and those focus not only on highways and bridges, but transit, kind of that multimodal network at a regional level.
How many years, you say you're planning in advance before we see the dirt moving, how many years?
These long-range plans start at like 25 years. So some of these bigger reconstruction projects, especially major bridge replacements on the interstates, things like that, take a little time to develop.
Yeah, clearly.
Yes.
Can you speak also to how transportation investments support and drive economic development across Pennsylvania?
Yes, absolutely. Without that infrastructure, we can't move people to jobs, and we can't move goods to stores for people to consume those products. So we try to make sure that if there's redevelopment happening, we're regionally investing in some of those areas so that we can attract that economic development to Pennsylvania.
Okay. And how about some of the challenges that PennDOT faces that we don't know about?
I think it's similar challenges to everyone faces. You have a lot of needs and not always a lot of money to cover all of those needs. So similar in that way. Also, too, Pennsylvania's infrastructure is old.
Yes.
It's aging, so it's not cheap. It's no longer sometimes just those resurfacings. It's reconstructions, bridge replacements across the state. Many of our bridges on our interstate system are over 50 years old. In addition to that, there's also prices with inflation, buying power going down. So trying to bundle all of that together to get the highest priority needs for our communities.
So ultimately, funding is that determining factor as to which projects are
correct
going to be prioritized.
Yep.
How about the role that stakeholder engagement would play, including your input from local government and the private sector?
Yes, actually, we early and often we seek public input, local community input, and local official input. As I mentioned before, I said it kind of our metropolitan and rural planning organizations, our regional planning partners. We work through them. They do a lot of coordination with the local elected officials. They also do their own public outreach. We do that at a statewide level too. Our state transportation commission, kind of our board of directors, is every 2 years updating our mid-range plan, so our 12-year transportation plan. We actually just kicked off the 2027 program update earlier this year. We had a public comment period that included a survey, an online public forum. That occurred in the March to April timeframe. We're now putting out the survey results. We just shared them for the first time yesterday when I was here in Pittsburgh with the State Transportation Commission. So they're available out there now. We'll be sharing those with our planning partners, counties, et cetera, to kind of, what was that public input? They can use that as they're starting to prioritize projects. And then at the end of that period, they'll actually put those plans out for public input again.
Is there anything that came from that surprised you, or was...
Most of it's actually pretty much in line with, we do this every 2 years, so we actually have some of the trending data there too. Little bits of changes, but not much. There was over 3,000 mapped points of concerns, needs that came in from the public. A lot of them most likely will align with things we've already known about, but we want to make sure we're hearing that public input.
Yeah, absolutely. How about some of the biggest challenges in the years to come, or even opportunities? What's on the horizon for Pennsylvania?
Freight and truck parking is something we absolutely are looking to and from, because not only the roads and bridges, but getting them to the ports and the rails. So that's, I think, it's an opportunity to look forward to, is how do we invest in that moving forward, and then trying to make sure we're getting as much life out of our assets as we can, since we do have a aging infrastructure.
Kristin, right now when we drive around Western PA, we see PennDOT signs, we see workers, we know stuff is going on. Can you get specific as to the projects that are happening now or coming in the future that drivers need to be aware of?
Absolutely. There's a lot going on. Let me grab my cheat sheet.
Yeah, sure.
Over a couple of those.
I like that answer. A lot going on.
And just a few notable ones.
Okay.
And I would say, kind of looking at an entire corridor, the 376 corridor, there's one that you'll see construction on sooner. It's already been let. That's the Commercial Street Bridge, kind of right outside of the tunnels. Okay. They'll actually be it's a full replacement, but they'll be laterally sliding in the bridge. So kind of a very innovative, something new, but to help, since we know that's a very congested area, and to help minimize the impacts to traffic.
Okay.
Another one that we're hoping to go out kind of for letting next year to 18 months would be what we refer to as the bathtub, is 376.
Where it floods.
Yes.
Yes.
Floods all the time. And you sometimes see kayakers.
Yes.
This project would be so that there wouldn't be more flooding. So that's kind of from the Fort Pitt Bridge to 10th Street Bridge, and it would address those flooding issues through that area. And then kind of looking towards the future, kind of from maybe 2020, next year, 2026 through 2030, we'd be looking to do several interchanges on 376 to upgrade them and help with safety congestion concerns. That's Banksville, Greentree, and Carnegie.
Okay. How about just getting more information, or where can people go to even be part of those surveys that you mentioned?
So the website is www.talkpatransportation.com. That has the STC, our Transportation Advisory Committee meetings on there. It has it'll have those survey results. It'll also show the opportunities for when those regional programs go out for public comment.
Okay, awesome. And is there anything that I'm not asking that you feel like the public needs to know about, needs to be maybe clarified, or?
I think being patient, because I think we see dirt moving, we think PennDOT just decided today to go out and pave a road. It doesn't happen that way. And we seek a lot of community input through our Connects program too, before those projects get scoped, et cetera. We want to make sure the projects fit the community. But like everybody else, we don't have enough money to do everything everyone needs, let alone wants today. So patience.
Absolutely. That's what we're always telling our children, right? Patience. Kristin, thank you so much
My pleasure.
for your time and your expertise. And thank you as always for listening in. And please stay tuned for our next episode.